Most people aren't attacked by wolves or eaten by surprise. They never saw it coming because they weren't even looking. Now, in life, you're either the sheep, grazing, the wolf, hunting, or the sheepdog, watching. The difference is awareness. Ignore it, and you'll never know you're in danger until it's too late.
Got it. The wolf, the sheep, and the sheepdog. That's what we're talking about today, right, Bill?
Yes.
Oof, 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 oof. Makes me think of diamond dogs.
Right? You've got two dogs that could interrupt you today, and I've got two dogs that could interrupt me today. So
There's a lot that could interrupt me today going on. We got work going on outside, dogs inside, but hey, we're moving forward anyway. So, we're talking about the sheep, we're talking about the sheepdog, and we're talking about the wolf. And I think what we're looking at is like, how can we continue to kind of live our lives like sheep? Because that's, like we don't have to always be on the watch, but how can we live that way but have awareness of the sheepdog and know that the wolf does exist? And we're going to talk about a few different things that might be considered the wolf in our lives that, like you said in the opening, like we might not even be aware of it until it's too late. So where did the whole concept wolf, sheep, and sheepdog come from?
originally comes from Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman, retired U.S. Army Ranger and former West Point psychology professor. He wrote a book, and in the book, he lays it out as these three different mindset differences. And
Yeah.
so let's just talk about what are we talking about with the wolf and the sheepdog and the sheep, and what are the three things?
Yeah, and I love the idea in the book that it's more of a mindset, right? Um, in terms of like which category are you in, or which category should you be in? So I think you hear these terms, right? The sheepdog, oftentimes in military, obviously he was a lieutenant colonel, and so he kind of came up with that terminology. But you hear it in first responders, police, some of those self-defense types of circles and things like that. But when you think about the sheep, like what are the characteristics of a sheep? And when we say sheep, we don't say that in a derogatory or in a demeaning way, right? It's not, I think sometimes the word sheep, you hear people like, well, they're just a bunch of sheeple. They just do whatever they're told and, whatever. But I don't think we look at it in necessarily that kind of a light. So what are the characteristics of a sheep?
Let's kind of look at it as uh, sheep are generally peaceful, law abiding.
Yeah. Yeah.
They go about their lives without causing harm.
Yeah.
They don't like to think about danger or violence. They assume
Okay.
the they. Go ahead.
And I think that might be sometimes their downfall, right? Is they may lack some of the awareness of the dangers around them.
Right. They kind of rely on others to keep them safe. Maybe just a too much trusting.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe
But
just too
in
trusting.
general, a peaceful, law-abiding, getting along, just kind of doing their thing. And I think that's the vast majority of people. And there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Nothing wrong with that. The vast majority of people fall into the category of sheep just by a sense of a lack of awareness.
Sure.
So,
But then we have the wolf, right?
right.
And sometimes, wolves are predatory. So, they are out there seeking prey. They intentionally are looking for ways to harm others, exploit others, destroy others. I mean, that is just their nature. But when we talk about the wolf, if we think about it from that mindset perspective, what are some of the things in our world today that we might want to consider as wolf and we need to have more awareness about as sheep? we need to increase the awareness of these things. So what are some of those that you can think of, Bill?
I think the obvious ones are people that are criminals that tend to do us harm,
Hmm.
that want to take for themselves. Uh,
Yeah.
Wolves, or the trait of the wolf. When we're talking about the three types of people in the world, the wolf is the one that thinks only about himself. You have something, I'm going to take it. Uh, I'm gonna I'm gonna feel good because I intimidate you, or I make you fearful, or I manipulate you to dominate. I want to dominate you and control you, and that's the wolf's mindset. A wolf is has a terrible self-esteem. You know,
You believe that? Yeah.
yes. So
So we have the criminals out there, but like, what about some of like the spammers and the con artists and the people that are, send you emails with a link that ends up, they have access then to your bank accounts or credit cards or whatever it is. The what's the little things that they put on gas pumps, like the little skimmers
oh yeah,
that when you put your credit card in, like those are wolves, right? That's people that are seeking to intentionally take advantage of
take
the
advantage of
sheep.
you. Take advantage of you, or take advantage of you as just a normal human being. There's people out there
So
that want to take what you have, and
so
and you can
are
go.
there other? Go ahead.
I was going to say that goes from everywhere from criminals to politicians.
Yep, and
So,
everything in between.
and
Or sometimes they're one and the same.
yep, it's all about taking.
Um, so are there things, maybe not people? I mean, there's people behind the things, but are there things that we should maybe have more awareness about that could be destroying us that we don't even realize it? So the thing that comes to my mind is like social media. Like if used for the right reasons and and there's guidelines or boundaries around it, I think social media is great. But what about the constant scrolling that you just mindlessly on it for hours and you don't even realize the time has escaped? Like that is taking advantage of your life and your time, and you are now doing something very unproductive, and
Hmm.
you've just wasted that time that you never get back.
Yeah. So the wolf is not necessarily the person in that example. The wolf is actually just sheep being the sheep. Just I'm eating the grass.
Yep.
You
Totally
know,
unaware.
to-
Totally unaware of the dangers that's lurking.
right. Just eating
So
the grass.
yeah. So let's shift gears. What's the sheepdog?
Oh, sorry. I think the sheepdog is the one that is aware. Uh, I mean, like very much in tune to being aware of the dangers that might come across anywhere from an email to walking down the street. Uh, I've taken some training with regard to firearms because if I was going to own a firearm, I want to know how to be smart with it,
Hmm.
not some idiot, of which there may be many with firearms, but that's another story. But you know,
Completely other topic.
yeah, and one of the things they talk about before we even touch a firearm is situational awareness. You look around,
Hmm.
and I'm starting to train myself in the idea of when I go here or there, I'm watching how people act, and I'm watching, you know, when you really try to tune into the idea of being aware of. Uh, I'm stumbling a little bit. I apologize, but the idea of okay, these people are just people, but here's somebody that's just acting a little bit different
Hmm.
and a little bit more threatening, I guess. And those are the people that you just it's situational awareness. Whereas
So
I tell I'm walking with my wife and I tell her step on the other side of me, please. Just so that I can be the one between her and what I think might be absolutely nothing or might be something. So
so
the sheepdog is standing between the two, aware of.
so what I hear you
Go ahead.
so what I hear you saying is that the sheepdog is looking for the wolf. the sheepdog knows the wolf exists and is constantly seeking out where the wolf might be able to protect the sheep that might be around.
Right.
Is
So,
that kind of what
uh,
you're saying?
okay, I come back to the name. It's not the sheep, the wolf, and the wolf hunter. It's the sheep, the wolf, and the sheepdog. The
Mhm.
primary idea of the sheepdog is to take care of the sheep.
Right.
And in order to take care of the sheep, you have to be more keenly aware of where wolves might slip in.
Yep.
Now, here's an idea. I introduced. I was at a baby shower over the weekend, and there were two ladies at the baby shower that nobody on either side of the family knew, but I knew them. And why were they there? Well, because they were invited. They weren't crashing the party. But I introduced these ladies to someone. They saying, "Who's that?" And I said, here's these two people. I said, these two people will pray for you when you need prayer, and these two people will pray for you when you don't need prayer. I call them sheepdogs
Yeah.
because the primary thing they're doing is they're two women who are very in tune to the idea of I need to pray for my friends, I need to pray for my relatives, I need to pray for this baby, or I need to pray for this or for that. I need to pray, and they're the ones many times that are standing between the sheep and the wolf,
So
praying a hedge of protection around them.
so so kind of presence, right? So there's a couple of things I hear you saying here. One is the sheepdog has to be knows that the wolf exists, and in certain situation is constantly looking for the wolf because the sheepdog knows that it's out there.
Right,
So it has to be prepared in case the sheep or the wolf appears. That's one sheepdog trait or characteristic. The other one's what you were talking about with the kind of the constant prayer of for a hedge of protection, right? Now is it just being present wards off the wolf. Like if the wolf happens to see the sheepdog, and the sheepdog may not see the wolf because it's maybe hidden over here, but because of the sheepdog's presence, the wolf sees it, sees the sheepdog, and decides to attack someplace else and not there. So
right.
so it's a constant like be aware of the wolf.
Be,
Know it exists, be aware, look for it. But just know that in your presence alone may be enough to ward off the sheep or ward off the wolf from time to time.
right, right. So
Like it.
yeah, so the analogy, or let's just call this an analogy challenge.
Sure.
So for you to ask, okay, and this comes in the way of a question: am I living like a sheep, praying like a wolf, or protecting like a sheepdog? I think we should
Mm,
all be seeking that third thing. You want to protect your family.
yeah.
You know, we are told and we have read that Satan is like a lion seeking whom he may devour. That's the wolf.
Yep. That is the wolf of wolves right there.
That is the wolf. So,
So what do we need? So like, what questions can we ask ourselves to make, kind of give us that frame of reference, put us maybe in the right mindset?
okay, so ask yourself this: who or what are you blindly following?
Uh,
Keyword blindly. You are
Blindly, yeah,
blindly following. In other words, I don't know what it means. I don't know what it fully represents, but I'm just gonna I'm gonna follow it. It sounds good. You are blindly following. Be honest with yourself. Who or what are you blindly following? Give me another one, James.
yeah. And I think that's also where we have to look at like the objects too, right? Like so the
Hmm.
social media and those types of things too. Like how often do I pick up my phone and just start scrolling Instagram or Facebook?
Right, right, and also even being very wary of what are you allowing into your mind. Even in the movies,
Yep.
you know, it could be the movies you watch or whatever, and have some very strong filters for that. So, who or what are you blindly following?
I
Uh,
think right along with that then is who or what is actually taking advantage of us. Like
mm,
sometimes we don't even know we're being taken advantage of until we actually stop and think about it and think, you know what? I don't feel as though this is in my best interest. Um, so I think we need to take a hard look at that as well.
right?
So what else?
Third thing, who are you standing up for? I mean, if you think about the sheepdog mentality, the sheepdog is always standing up for, well, the sheep,
The sheep, right?
right? And that comes back to the idea of situational awareness. But who are you standing up for? Who are you willing to take a stand for? I think of Bugs Bunny, old Bugs Bunny
Yes.
cartoons where they have the sheepdog standing, sitting up on a hill and watching the sheep, and the sheep
Yep.
are oblivious. And the wolf sneaks in and does this, and the sheepdog does, great things, funny, hilarious things to stop the wolf from doing that. But think of this. Think of the landscape. It's weird. I'm thinking of the landscape of a cartoon, but think of the landscape. The sheepdog has always got his head up above, looking around,
Hmm.
making sure that his sheep are safe. And all of us have sheep in our lives that we want them to be safe, whether it is family, friends, neighborhoods, whatever it may be.
Yep.
So,
I think that is a great place to wrap things up. So I love the big takeaway you just mentioned a minute ago. Asking ourselves, am I living like a sheep, or am I praying like a wolf, or am I actually protecting like a sheepdog?
right. And let's just end on this thought. There are three types of people in the world: those who can count and those who can't.
Yes, that is a true statement.
I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. I'm with Jamie.
Hey, that's Bill.